So, good afternoon, my friends. Thank you very much for being here with me. I'm reading Breaking the Cycle, Understanding and Reduced Reality Distortions, lesson 1.27. Okay? Skipping the first paragraphs about reality distortions. Okay, so we usually believe our perceptions of the wounds within around us is true. People controlled by false selves often unconsciously distort inner and outer realities. Their perceptions, actually. Their ruling personality subselves sees things that aren't there, or they don't see or feel things that are there, or even interesting, they see a smile, but they don't understand if the energy of the smile is in fact there. Okay. Or the person is next to you, but they don't feel if the person wants to be there or not. Okay. Classic examples of denying or minimizing an addiction, major illness, toxic or dead relationships. And these psychological wounds, for example, denying denials. Reality distortions combine up to 5 wounds to promote chronic health, and relationship problems, including ineffective communication, incomplete grief, that's the fourth chakra, parenting neglect, and divorce. True versus pseudo recovery from false self-dominance can significantly reduce reality distortions over time. Common distortions include misinterpretation, assuming the motivations and actions of others. Pets not calling back obviously means she's angry or pushing me. Imagining behaviors motivates events and attitudes that don't exist. Don't lie to me, Manuel. I know you have been having an affair. Reducing complex situations of only two options, black and white or bipolar thinking. This usually comes from subself's fear of unknown and the prospective need to control by reducing uncertainties and ambivalences to manageable yes, no, right, wrong, good, bad, your fault, my fault terms. Chronic black-white thinking seriously hinders effective problem solving. Inventing reasons to explain why things are rather than accepting the painful truth. I drink because you are always harping at me, Noriko. Minimizing events and event impacts on oneself and or others. I think Jack is adjusting wonderfully to her dad's livingness. Her nightmares and school troubles will soon be over. Repressing painful thoughts and own feelings. No, I have completely recovered from Mom's death. I have done grieving. Thank the Lord. Selective amnesia. Typical people ruled by false selves describe a wide range of blanks about important childhood periods, events, and people. This often comes from an unconscious avoidance of pain, rage, and sadness associated with childhood traumas like abandonment, humiliation, abuses, losses, and terrors. These strategic amnesias may also come from an inebriate aura of seeing the key early caregivers as flawed, cruel, selfish, weak, uncaring, and or abusive, wounded people who could nurture us well enough. Typical amnesia symptoms sound like I can't remember my life before age 9. What usually happened after I came back from school. My birthday parts for me when I was a kid. Excessive amnesias can promote vague and sharp feelings of personal anxiety, incompleteness, or wrongness. They are especially common and dramatic for survivors of chronic childhood neglect. Some common reality distortions, projecting our shameful thoughts, fantasies, moods, desires, and others. You are one with a toxic anger problem. Here, kiddo, not me. Exaggerating and catastrophizing. You are always late. You never tell me the truth. This way you are going to be bankrupt and live on the streets for the rest of your life. Idealizing, wishful thinking. Well, other couples may have major step-family problems, but our love, experience, and commitment will protect us from them. Denying these distortions and fervently denying our denial and underlying psychological wounds. This is a master reality distortion. How can you tell if someone is ruled by a false sub-self who needs to protectively distortion reality too much? Option: use this as checklist for yourself or someone else. Typical symptoms of excessive distortions. 1. Vehemently insisting that events, feelings, conversations, and decisions that others witnessed didn't happen, or happened in a different time, place, or circumstances. I, you, they never said, did, thought, felt that. I am not an alcoholic. 2. Fervently declaring that major disappointments, losses, or traumas aren't that important and or don't affect or bother me. 3. Genuinely believing a key relationship is fine while others see major problems or perceiving major problems where there are none. I know you are thinking about leaving me. 4. Believing a partner is not having an affair when they aren't. Also distrust symptom. 5. Steadily avoiding responsibility of one's life, wealth, decisions, behaviors, and happiness. Adopting a martyr or victim role, insisting I can't help it. Wounds of excessive shame, self-trust, and reality distortions. 6. Misassuming or mind reading, after reading incomplete meanings into other statements and or actions. You are angry with me. Don't you deny it. And denying or rationalizing it. A common example is mistaking intentional feedback as criticism. Projecting one's own shameful traits onto others. You are the liar here, not me. These also symptoms of toxic excessive shame and guilt. More common symptoms and or fast self-reality distortions. 8. Refocusing or refusing to see flaws, weaknesses, and or these psychological wound symptoms is oneself or in revered partner, heroine, or child. 9. Rationalizing that clearly abusive, criminal, harmful, self-harmful, and or unethical acts are really okay because. 10. Minimizing one's own needs, risks, feelings, consequences, responsibility, and or those of others. No big deal to me. And you are making a big deal out of nothing. This flip side of this is a chronic tendency to exaggerate and catastrophize, imagining the worst and acting as thought it was certain. 11. Lying, excessive and chronically, and denying, minimizing, joking, or justifying that. This is also a symptom of excessive fear, shame, and guilt. 12. Seeing inner world symptoms like this is a trivial and unremarkable. So what's the big deal? 13. Having distorted and no clear ideas about emotional, spiritual, and or physical abuses and child and self-neglect are. 14. Tolerating any of these abuses without complaint. 15. Believing and justifying distorted concepts of higher nurturance, parenting and relationship goals, priorities, and techniques. 16. Insisting my childhood and early family were fine, wonderful, healthy, loving, functional, when they clearly weren't. Well, if a person doesn't recognize, there's something wrong with the person's perceptions. Okay. 17. Believing my parents really love me and being unable to describe how they demonstrated that and or amplifying, distorting, or inventing parental behaviors to prove their love. 18. Consistently idealizing outcomes and or expecting unrealistic attitudes, behaviors, or outcomes from people and situations. Well, you have to be aware of people's limitations. You can't expect a page to behave like an emperor. Okay. 19. Interpreting people's relationships and events as satisfying prophecies in a sacred or occult text, rather than seeing real causes and effects. 20. Believing that Satan, the devil, demons, evil spirits, or malevolent ghosts are causing personal or global troubles versus psychological, social, genetic, and environmental realities. Well, in this case, I believe that Peter Garlack does not understand quantum physics. I think that's the reason why he understood that. In my opinion, and from the researchers I've read, from the creme of the creme intellectuals of the world, we are indeed living in a spiritual warfare. Okay, and I think it is imperative that we all understand what that means. Okay, having understand the law of attraction has to do with aligning your thoughts, and for that you need to have your perceptions aligned with your emotions, your feelings, and your actions. Okay. There are many other symptoms that illustrate in general the more symptoms above that you and other person have. The higher the odds you or she is psychologically wounded, dominated by a well-meaning false self. Recall, this is one of the several wound assessments checklists in lesson 1. Impacts of excessive distortions. People with this common psychological wound avoid stress by discounting, ignoring, or denying potential harmful things. They stress themselves and others by inventing or magnifying problems. Do you know people who distort a lot? How do you react to that trait? Typical responses can span of resignation, irritation, arguing, anxiety, distress, confusion, doubting, discounting, avoidance, not listening, criticism, concern, preaching, or lecturing. All of these stress relationships lower family nurturing levels and hinder effective communication. Do you agree? Yes, I do. Sam Vaknin has a little video explaining 5 ways to deal with a narcissist. The first one is, or to talk to a narcissist, is to argue back that you destroyed the relationship. The second one is to submit, accept whatever crap they say. That also is going to destroy your sense of self. The second one is to do the gray method, to say yes, you're right, yes, obviously, and to become boring, and to become, and this is for me also that doesn't work. The fourth one is to use sense of humor. So to whatever they say, to make it as ridiculous as possible, okay, so that they come across with their reality. I can tell you an example. My mother has, when we go into my mother's apartment, first of all, you go into my mother's apartment, everything is impeccable. It's like, she's a neat freak, okay? Now that she doesn't work and she's retired, Jesus, that thing looks like in a hospital. And when you enter the room, the corridor is not a corridor, it's a square, right? So the divisions of the house are around the square. So you enter, you have on the right the bedroom, and then on the other side the living room. Right in front of the house you have the bathroom, and then my room, or the room I used to live in, and the kitchen. So, and in the middle, so you have to always go in diagonal if you want to go from the kitchen to the living room. And my mother decided to put a carpet that almost was the size of that square, and she convinced every member of the family, including my father and Isabel, my first daughter, my oldest daughter, to go around the carpet, because my mother considers that she wants to look at the carpet and see how beautiful the carpet is on that space, right? And she convinced everybody to go around, so everybody go around, and I refused to go around it. I always crossed it. I said, I will not change my habits because of a carpet. Okay, because of of the way you perceive reality, because you want to see the carpet. If you want to live like that, you're going to live alone. Okay, and this is an example. Oh, and going back to some Vapning, and then I use this example as a making fun of it. There are many examples, right? But I have to, and the last one is to go no contact. And for me, the last one, for I've learned who I am, and I am a projector, so I always assimilate the energies of people around me, and I need a long time to regenerate, like a vampire. We all need time alone to regenerate, and to have a coherence of thoughts and feelings and emotions and actions. So, for me, the no contact rule is the best one. Okay, as Peter Gerlach says, most of the people in a few lessons ago, he said, normal is to be unhealthy. Okay, and according to what I've understood from the astrologers, is that the society we have created in the last 400 years is going to come down. It's not working because we are not improving. We are not becoming better, wiser, healthier. It's getting worse. So the paradigms have to change because we are changing. Okay. Yes. Options for reducing major distortions. Significant reality distortions is a symptom of the real problem. Personality ruled too often by a false self, so the best way to reduce major reality distortions in yourself is to intentionally harmonize your inner team of sub-selves and free your true self to lead them. Self-improvement lesson 1, and this guidebook offer an effective way to do this over time using inner family therapy. Part work. See an example how to do this after you finish reading here. Another vital step in this work is connecting your talented, nurtured sub-self to inner child and demonstrating that he or she is a reliable caregiver and guide. Over time, this frees the attentive guardian sub-selves to reduce their protective distortions. 4 options for relating well to people. Well, this who distorts often is wounded, and see this and this after you finish this article. Recap the article. This article is one of the series of reducing common psychological wounds from the childhood abandonment, neglect, and abuse trauma. The article offers perspective on a widespread wound of reality distortion. It suggests that significant distortions, denying, projecting, minimizing, lying, exaggerating, idealizing, and catastrophizing, are caused by reactive personality subsets who don't trust the wise resident true self yet. The article proposes a strategy for reducing excessive distortions via patient pathworks. Pause, breathe, and reflect. Why did you read this article? Did you get what you needed? If not, what do you need? Who's answering these questions? Your true self or someone else? This is the technique from Peter Garlick is very left side of the brain. Okay, it's very mental. I would do this also using human design. You have to understand which type of aura do you have and adapt yourself to the type of response, okay? And read what is the emotions of your body telling you, okay? So thank you very much for listening to me. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell button. And for donations or requests, the email is down below. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.